Stop scrolling for a moment, because this may be the message you were meant to hear today. What if I told you that the pain you've carried, the tears nobody saw, the prayers you thought heaven ignored, were not the end of your story? What if today is the line between your old season and your new beginning? Because something is changing, and deep down you know this message found you for a reason. There are moments in life when you smile around people, but inside you're exhausted. You keep showing up, you keep trying, you keep praying, yet it feels like nothing is moving. You've asked God questions in the middle of sleepless nights. Why is this taking so long? Why does everyone else seem to be moving ahead while I feel stuck? Did you forget about me? Maybe you've been carrying pain that nobody understands. Maybe fear has sat beside you every morning. Maybe disappointment became a familiar feeling. You prayed for doors to open, but they stayed shut. You asked for healing, but the waiting continued. You hoped relationships would stay, but people walked away. You believed for opportunities, but delays kept showing up. And after a while, you started wondering if your season would ever change. Some of you know what it's like to feel alone in a crowded room. You know what it's like to fight battles silently, to hold broken dreams in your hands and wonder if they'll ever live again. You know the stress of carrying burdens that seem too heavy. You know the ache of unanswered prayers. And sometimes the hardest part isn't the struggle itself. It's waiting. Waiting without understanding. Waiting without answers. Waiting while heaven feels silent. But hear this today. Silence does not mean abandonment. Delays do not mean denial. Just because you cannot see God working does not mean He stopped moving. Sometimes while you are waiting, heaven is preparing. While you're crying, God is arranging. While you're feeling forgotten, something greater is being put into place. The chapter you've been in may have been painful, but it is not permanent, because this is where things begin to shift. This is where hope rises again. This is where faith gets stronger than fear. This is where broken pieces begin coming together. This is where blessings start chasing you instead of running from you. This is where prayers you've carried for years begin to receive answers. This is where miracles begin to appear in unexpected ways. You didn't come this far to stay stuck. Better days are ahead. Joy is coming back. Peace is coming back. Strength is coming back. And one day you'll look back and realize the season that almost broke you was actually the season that prepared you for everything you prayed for. There are seasons in life when heaven feels silent. You pray with all your heart. You believe. You hold on. You do everything you know to do, yet nothing seems to change. Day after day passes, and the answer you were hoping for never arrives. The door stays closed. The opportunity doesn't come. The healing takes longer than expected. The relationship still hurts. And slowly, if you're not careful, silence can start speaking lies to your heart. Silence can make you think God has forgotten you. It can make you believe your prayers are being ignored. It whispers, maybe it's not going to happen. Maybe things will never change. Maybe your best days are behind you. And when you've been waiting for a long time, those thoughts can become heavy. You start smiling outside while carrying questions inside. Questions you don't always tell anyone about. Maybe you've been there. Maybe you've had nights where you stared at the ceiling asking, God, where are you? Maybe you've cried silent tears that nobody saw. Maybe you felt tired from being strong all the time. Tired of pretending everything is okay. Tired of fighting battles nobody else understands. But here's what you need to remember. Just because heaven is silent does not mean heaven is absent. Think about it. Some of the greatest things happen in silence. Seeds grow in silence. The sun rises without making a sound. A child grows in the womb quietly before entering the world. And sometimes God does His greatest work where human eyes cannot see it. You may not see movement, but that doesn't mean nothing is happening. Behind the scenes, things are shifting. Doors are being prepared. Paths are being aligned. People are being positioned. Answers are moving toward you that you cannot yet see. Too often we think God works according to our schedule. We want immediate answers, immediate breakthroughs, immediate change. But timing matters. There are blessings that require preparation. There are miracles connected to moments. There are prayers that cannot be answered until everything around you is ready. What feels like delay may actually be protection. What feels like silence may actually be preparation. One day you'll look back and realize that while you thought nothing was happening, Everything was happening. While you felt forgotten, you were being guided. While you were hurting, you were growing stronger. While you thought God was distant, He was carrying you through every tear, every sleepless night, and every painful moment. So if heaven feels silent today, don't give up now. Don't stop believing now. Keep praying, keep trusting, keep moving forward, because silence is not your ending. It's only the space before your breakthrough arrives. And sometimes right before your story changes, heaven gets quiet. There is a kind of pain that people can see. They notice the tears, the struggle, the obvious battles. They offer comfort because the hurt is visible. But then there is another kind of pain, the pain nobody else sees, the pain hidden behind smiles, the pain covered by, "I'm okay," the pain carried quietly while life keeps moving around you. Some of the heaviest burdens are the ones nobody knows you're carrying. You wake up every day, go to work, show up for people, laugh in conversations, and keep doing what needs to be done. To everyone else, it looks like you're handling life well. But deep inside, there's a battle taking place that words cannot fully explain. Maybe it's the pain of disappointment. You had dreams that you truly believed would happen. You prayed, hoped, and expected things to work out differently. But life did not go the way you imagined. The relationship ended. The opportunity disappeared. The answer never came. And now you carry questions in your heart that nobody hears. Maybe it's loneliness. Not the kind where people are absent, but the kind where you feel alone even when surrounded by others. The kind where you wish someone truly understood what you're feeling. You long for someone to see beyond your smile and notice that you're tired, hurting, and carrying more than you let people know. Maybe it's fear about tomorrow, fear about finances, fear about your family, your future, your purpose. You tell yourself to stay strong, but some nights the pressure feels overwhelming. Some nights you lie awake wondering how things are going to work out. And what makes hidden pain difficult is that people often expect you to keep functioning while carrying it. The world keeps moving. Responsibilities continue. Life doesn't pause because your heart hurts. So you learn to carry your pain silently. But hear this today. Just because people do not see your pain does not mean God doesn't see it. Every tear you hid, He saw it. Every night you cried yourself to sleep, He counted it. Every moment you felt forgotten, every time you felt exhausted, every silent prayer whispered through brokenness, none of it escaped His attention. Sometimes we think if nobody understands us, then maybe we're alone, but you're not alone. God sees what others miss. He sees the battles you never talk about. He sees the strength it took just to get out of bed. He sees the courage it took to keep believing when your heart was tired. And the beautiful thing is this: God does some of His greatest work in hidden places. The pain nobody sees today may become the testimony people celebrate tomorrow. The struggle that almost broke you may become the reason someone else finds hope. Keep going, keep believing, keep holding on, because healing is happening even if you cannot feel it yet. Strength is rising even if you feel weak today. And one day, what you carried silently will be replaced with joy you can no longer hide. There are moments in life when delays can feel painful. You prayed for the opportunity, but it still hasn't arrived. You believed for healing, but the process is taking longer than you expected. You hoped the relationship would improve, the door would open, the breakthrough would come, yet days turned into months, and months turned into years. And if you're not careful, delays can begin to speak to your heart in ways that steal your hope. Delays often whisper things like, "It's too late now. Maybe it's never going to happen. Maybe you missed your chance." And after hearing those thoughts long enough, you can start believing them. You start looking around at everyone else and wonder why their lives seem to be moving forward while you feel stuck in the same place. You see people reaching milestones you prayed for. You watch others stepping into opportunities you hoped would come your way. You wonder why your timeline looks different. And quietly, deep inside, discouragement begins to grow. But what if the delay is not working against you? What if it is actually working for you? Sometimes we assume that if something hasn't happened yet, then it must not be meant for us. But not every delay is a denial. Sometimes God delays because He is preparing something greater than what you imagined. Sometimes He sees what you cannot see. He knows what is ahead. He understands timing in ways we never will. Think about it. There are moments in life where if certain prayers had been answered immediately, you would not have been ready. You were still growing, still learning, still becoming stronger. You wanted the blessing, but God was preparing the person who would carry the blessing because timing matters. You may be asking for open doors while God is building strength inside you. You may be asking for increase while God is developing character. You may be praying for a miracle while heaven is arranging people, places, and circumstances that need to come together at the right moment. What feels like waiting may actually be preparation. Sometimes God says not yet because right now would not lead to your best. We often focus on what we can see today, but God sees years ahead. He sees connections you haven't made, opportunities you haven't discovered, and blessings moving toward you that are still outside your view. One day you'll realize that what looked like rejection protected you. What looked like a closed door redirected you. What looked like a delay positioned you. You may not understand the waiting season now, but one day it will make sense. One day you'll look back and thank God for the doors that stayed closed, the opportunities that didn't work out, and the timing that seemed slow. Keep believing, keep trusting, keep moving forward, because if it hasn't happened yet, your story is not over. Delays do not mean God said no. Sometimes delays simply mean He is preparing something bigger, better, and greater than you imagined. Your season is coming, and when it arrives, you'll understand that every moment of waiting had a purpose. Faith is easy when everything is going well. It's easy to trust when doors are opening, prayers are being answered, and life feels like it's moving in the right direction. It's easy to believe when you can see progress. But real faith, the kind that changes lives, is built in the waiting season. The waiting season is difficult because it tests parts of you that success never can. It tests your patience. It tests your trust. It tests what you truly believe when you cannot see results, because anyone can have hope when everything makes sense. But it takes a different kind of strength to keep believing when nothing around you seems to be changing. Maybe you're in that season right now. Maybe you've been praying for a breakthrough that still hasn't come. You've asked God to open doors, heal pain, restore relationships, or change circumstances, but instead of answers, all you see is waiting. Day after day, you wonder when things are finally going to shift. And if you're honest, waiting can be exhausting. There are days when you feel strong, and there are days when questions begin filling your mind. You wonder if you heard God correctly. You wonder if your prayers are reaching heaven. You wonder if things are ever going to change. And sometimes the hardest battle isn't what's happening around you. It's the thoughts happening inside you, because waiting can make you feel forgotten. You see other people moving ahead. You watch doors opening for them. You celebrate their victories, but quietly you ask yourself, what about me? You begin comparing your journey to everyone else's timeline. You start believing that because it hasn't happened yet, maybe it never will. But faith was never meant to depend on what you see. Faith says, even if I cannot see movement, I believe God is working. Faith says, even if I do not understand the process, I trust the purpose. Faith says, even if the answer hasn't arrived yet, I know my story isn't over, because waiting seasons are not wasted seasons. Something powerful happens while you wait. Strength grows while you wait. Character develops while you wait. Wisdom increases while you wait. Your roots go deeper while you wait. You may think nothing is happening because you cannot see visible change, but God often works inside you before He works around you. Sometimes we become so focused on reaching the destination that we miss what the journey is creating in us. You may be waiting for a blessing, but God is building a stronger version of you. You may be asking for change around you while heaven is producing change within you. And often the person you become during the waiting season is part of the miracle itself. So if you're tired today, keep believing. If you're discouraged today, keep trusting. If you're questioning today, keep moving forward. Because faith in the waiting season is not pretending everything is perfect. Faith is choosing to trust even when life doesn't make sense. And one day you'll look back and realize the waiting season wasn't where your story stopped. It was where your story started changing. There comes a moment in every difficult season when something begins to change. Not always around you at first, but inside you. A shift starts happening that you didn't see coming. You may have spent months feeling tired, discouraged, and wondering if things would ever get better. You carried disappointment. You fought silent battles. You kept showing up even when your heart felt heavy. And without realizing it, you thought the struggle would last forever. But life has a way of surprising you, because just when you think nothing is moving, something starts changing behind the scenes. Just when you think you've reached your limit, strength rises from a place you didn't know existed. Just when you think the story is ending, a new chapter quietly begins. The truth is, some of the biggest shifts in life happen when you least expect them. You don't always receive warning signs. You don't always get an announcement saying, "Get ready, your breakthrough is coming." Sometimes the shift begins in ordinary moments, on an ordinary day, during an ordinary prayer, during a moment when you almost gave up, during a season when you thought nothing was changing. Because God often works in places we cannot see. Too many people quit right before things begin turning around. They become exhausted from waiting. They become discouraged by delays. They think because they cannot see progress, nothing is happening. But just because you cannot see movement does not mean movement isn't taking place. Think about a sunrise. The sky can stay dark for hours. You look around and everything appears unchanged. But slowly, little by little, light begins pushing back darkness. And suddenly the night that felt endless comes to an end. Life can work the same way. You may be in a season where things still look dark. You may still have unanswered questions. You may still be carrying pain, fear, or uncertainty. But what you cannot see is that change may already be happening. Doors may already be opening. Opportunities may already be moving toward you. Healing may already be beginning. Sometimes the shift starts before you feel it. You begin thinking differently. You start speaking with more hope. You find strength where weakness used to live. You begin trusting more and fearing less. The things that once broke you no longer have the same power over you. And suddenly you realize something important. You are changing. Because before God changes your situation, many times He changes you. He builds your faith. He strengthens your heart. He prepares your spirit to carry the blessings He has planned. And one day you'll wake up and realize you're not the same person you used to be. The fear is smaller. The pain is lighter. The hope is stronger. Don't give up now. Don't walk away now. Don't stop believing now, because the shift you've been praying for may already be closer than you think. This difficult chapter is not your final chapter. Something is moving, something is changing, and your breakthrough may begin in the very place where you thought your story was over. There are seasons in life when miracles feel far away. You pray, you hope, you believe, but after waiting for so long, a part of you begins to wonder if what you're asking for will ever happen. You tell yourself to stay strong, but disappointment has a way of wearing down even the strongest hearts. After enough delays, enough closed doors, enough painful moments, it becomes easy to believe that maybe your breakthrough belongs to someone else. Maybe you felt that way. Maybe you've been carrying dreams that seem impossible now. You once had excitement and expectation, but life happened. Pain happened. Delays happened. Disappointments happened. And slowly, hope became harder to hold on to. You started lowering your expectations because disappointment hurt too much. You convinced yourself not to expect anything good because it felt safer than believing again. But hear this today. Just because something feels far away does not mean it is. Sometimes what you're praying for is much closer than you realize. Think about how many times in life things changed suddenly. One phone call changed everything. One conversation opened a new door. One opportunity shifted an entire future. One unexpected moment altered the direction of someone's story forever. Life can change faster than you think. We often assume miracles arrive with warning signs and clear announcements. We think we'll see them coming from a distance, but many times blessings arrive quietly. Answers show up unexpectedly. Doors open suddenly. You can spend months feeling stuck and then wake up one day to discover that everything has changed. That's why you cannot judge your future by your current circumstances. Your present situation does not have the final word. The pain you're feeling today does not decide tomorrow. The struggle you're facing now does not define how your story ends. Just because things look impossible today does not mean they will stay that way. Too often we focus on what we can see. We focus on closed doors, delays, disappointments, and unanswered prayers. We count what we lost. We think about how long it has been. We wonder why things have not changed yet. But faith sees beyond the present moment. Faith says, I may not see the answer yet, but I believe it's coming. Faith says, I may not understand the process, but I trust that something good is still ahead. Faith says, even though today feels difficult, tomorrow can be different. You don't know what is being arranged behind the scenes right now. You don't know who is about to enter your life, what opportunity is moving toward you, or what blessing is preparing to appear. Your miracle may already be closer than you think, so don't stop praying now. Don't stop believing now. Don't let disappointment convince you that your story is finished. Hold on to hope a little longer. Trust a little deeper. Keep taking one more step forward, because one day you'll realize that while you thought heaven was distant, things were already moving in your favor, and the miracle you almost gave up on was waiting right around the corner. There comes a moment in every journey when you realize something powerful. Your story is not ending where you thought it would. The pain did not win. The disappointment did not have the final word. The delays did not destroy your future. And the chapter that felt like the end was actually the place where everything started changing. Maybe for a long time you believed life would always feel this way. Maybe you became so used to carrying stress, fear, and disappointment that you forgot what hope felt like. You kept waking up to the same struggles, fighting the same battles, carrying the same questions. After a while, you stopped expecting things to get better because protecting your heart felt easier than hoping again. And that's what difficult seasons can do. They can slowly convince you that where you are is where you'll always be. Pain has a way of making temporary situations feel permanent. Delays can make you think you've been forgotten. Closed doors can make you think opportunities are over, and broken dreams can make you believe you'll never smile the same way again. But hear this clearly today. Your current chapter is not your final chapter. You may be standing in a place that feels uncertain. You may still have unanswered questions. You may still be waiting for things to change. But just because you cannot see the ending does not mean there isn't a beautiful ending being written. Some of the greatest stories ever told had moments where everything looked impossible, moments where people thought all hope was gone, moments where nothing made sense. Yet those moments were not endings, they were turning points. And maybe that's where you are right now. Maybe you are standing in the middle of a turning point and you just cannot see it yet, because stories change suddenly, lives change suddenly, seasons change suddenly. One unexpected blessing, one answered prayer, one opportunity, one moment of favor, one breakthrough can shift everything. You never know when the day you've been praying for will finally arrive. You never know when the tears you've cried will be replaced by joy. You never know when peace will return. You never know when the thing that looked impossible will suddenly become possible. That's why you cannot give up now. Not after everything you've survived. Not after every battle you fought. Not after every time you kept going when you wanted to quit. You came too far to stop now. The strength that carried you this far will carry you farther. The God who kept you through difficult seasons will not leave you in the middle of your journey. The same hand that held you in the pain will guide you into purpose. So lift your head again, hope again, believe again, dream again, because this is not where your story ends. This is where your story changes. And one day you will look back at this season, the tears, the waiting, the heartbreak, the uncertainty, and you will realize that what felt like the darkest chapter of your life became the beginning of your greatest testimony. Better days are ahead, greater things are coming, and your best chapter is still being written.